The smell hit me first, that sour, wrong odor that makes your stomach turn. I found my 6-year-old daughter Emma bent over the toilet, her little body shaking as she threw up again. Her twin brother Ethan sat on the bathroom floor, clutching his stomach. "Mommy, it hurts," he whimpered. "I know, baby. I know." I held Emma's hair back, my own stomach churning with rage, not sickness. Because I knew exactly what had caused this. Christmas dinner at my parents' house. The dinner where my children ate from the kids' table, in the kitchen while my sister Melissa's children dined in the formal dining room with the adults. The dinner where I'd watched my mother serve 2 very different meals to 2 sets of grandchildren. The turkey smelled funny, Emma gasped between heaves. But Grandma said I was being picky. That turkey, the one Mom had pulled from the back of her freezer, dated 2 years ago. The one she'd said was perfectly fine for them when I'd questioned it. The one she'd served to my kids while Melissa's family ate the fresh, organic turkey from the expensive butcher shop. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. "Hope the kids enjoyed dinner." Smiling face with smiling eyes. Enjoyed. My children were violently ill from food poisoning, and she hoped they enjoyed it. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my photo gallery and scrolled to the folder I'd labeled evidence. Because this wasn't the first time, and I'd finally started documenting everything. It started 3 years ago when my husband Jake lost his job. We'd struggled, moved to a smaller apartment, clipped coupons, did everything we could to stay afloat. My family knew we were hurting. Their response? To treat my children like they were less than human. Birthday parties where Emma and Ethan got dollar store toys while Melissa's kids received iPads. Family vacations where we weren't invited because it would be awkward with the different financial situations. And now this, feeding my babies expired food while their cousins ate like kings. But they had no idea what I'd documented. "Mommy." Ethan's voice was small. "Why does Grandma hate us?" "She doesn't hate you," I lied, smoothing his dark hair. "Some people just don't know how to love properly." After I got them settled back in bed, gave them medicine, and made sure they could keep down small sips of water, I sat at my kitchen table and opened my laptop. The folder was extensive. 3 years of photos, videos, screenshots. 3 years of systematic cruelty disguised as family dinners. The video from Thanksgiving was particularly damning. I'd hidden my phone on the counter, recording as Mom prepared plates. Melissa's children, fresh green beans, homemade stuffing, perfectly carved turkey breast. My children, canned vegetables, stale bread, and dark meat that she'd specifically said was starting to turn but still okay for them. "Poor kids should be grateful for anything," she'd said when I'd protested. "Maybe if you had a real job instead of that little writing thing, you could afford better." That little writing thing. My freelance business that I built from nothing while raising twins. The job that let me be there when they were sick, help with homework, attend school plays. The job that didn't pay 6 figures like Melissa's husband's corporate position, but kept us fed and sheltered and together. Christmas morning had been the final straw. I'd watched her serve my children food I wouldn't give to a dog while telling them they were lucky to be included at all. I'd recorded every moment. Jake came home from his night shift to find me surrounded by papers. "Hospital?" he asked, seeing my notes. "They're okay. Sleeping." "But Jake." I showed him the photos from dinner. The expired dates. The moldy bread she'd scraped and served. The turkey that had turned green at the edges. His face went dark. "We're pressing charges. For food poisoning. For child endangerment. For abuse. For every single thing they've done to our babies." I pulled up the screenshot from the family group chat. Mom bragging about the expensive meal she'd prepared for Melissa's family. The receipt showing she'd spent $300 on groceries, none of which went to feed my children. "I have 3 years of this," I said. 3 years of them treating Emma and Ethan like they're worthless. Like they deserve less because we have less money. "What else do you have?" I showed him. The birthday party videos where my kids were literally served different food, store-brand hot dogs, while their cousins ate catered barbecue. The Christmas morning where they were given used toys from Goodwill, because they wouldn't know the difference anyway. The family reunion where Mom made them eat outside because the good dining room is for contributing family members. "Jesus," Jake breathed. "How did I not see this?" "Because you were working 3 jobs to keep us afloat. Because they were careful to do it when you weren't around. Because I kept hoping it would get better. And now I'm done hoping." The next morning, both kids were still sick. The pediatrician took one look at them and immediately asked what they'd eaten. "Christmas dinner at my parents'," I said. Both children have food poisoning, she confirmed. Pretty severe. What did they eat? I showed her the photos. Her face changed from professional concern to actual anger. This is deliberate, she said. This food is clearly spoiled. Who serves this to children? Their grandmother, who thinks poor kids should be grateful for anything. This needs to be reported, she said firmly. This is child endangerment. Do you have more evidence? I showed her the folder. 3 years of medical records, stomach aches after every family dinner, rashes from expired dairy, constant stomach bugs, that coincidentally happened after eating at Grandma's house. I'll be filing a report with CPS, she said. This is abuse, Mrs. Coleman. Financial status doesn't determine a child's worth or what they deserve to eat. That afternoon, while the kids napped, I did something I should have done years ago. I posted in the family group chat. Emma and Ethan are in the hospital with severe food poisoning from the expired food Mom served them at Christmas dinner. While Melissa's children ate fresh, organic turkey, mine were served meat dated 2 years ago. I have 3 years of photos, videos, and medical records documenting how my children have been fed expired, moldy, and rotten food at every family gathering because poor kids should be grateful for anything. CPS has been notified. The health department has been called. And yes, I have video of Mom explicitly stating she knew the food was bad, but served it anyway because my children wouldn't know the difference. I've attached just a few examples for family members who'd like to see what their beloved grandmother has been doing. Then I attached the worst of it. The video of her scraping mold off bread. The photo of the green-tinged turkey. The screenshot of her laughing about feeding my kids garbage disposal food, because that's all their mother can afford anyway. The chat exploded. Melissa called immediately. You're lying. Mom would never. Check the metadata on the photos, I said calmly. Check the dates on the food in the pictures. Check the hospital records I just posted. But why would she? Because your husband makes $200,000 a year and mine drives a forklift. Because you live in a McMansion and we rent a 2-bedroom apartment. Because in her mind, poor equals worthless. That's not she wouldn't. She did. For 3 years. And you watched. I didn't know. You sat at the adult table eating prime rib while my babies were in the kitchen being served expired lunch meat. You knew. Dad called next, furious. Take that post down immediately. You're destroying your mother. She destroyed my children's trust. She poisoned them. Literally. It was just old food. Times are tough. Times are tough? You took a cruise last month. You drive a BMW. You spent $300 on Melissa's kids' Christmas dinner. But you couldn't spring for fresh food for mine. Maybe if you made better life choices. Like what? Like marrying a man who works honest labor instead of pushing papers? Like staying home with my sick kids instead of dumping them in daycare? Like refusing to treat my children as less than because we have less money? Get a real job and stop complaining. Poisoning children is a real crime. Ask Mom's lawyer. The health department showed up at my parents' house that evening. I know because Mom called screaming. They're going through my refrigerator. My freezer. They're taking samples. Good. You vindictive little. I'm a mother protecting my children from a grandmother who thinks their poverty makes them subhuman. I fed them. You fed them poison while their cousins ate like royalty. You documented your own crime by bragging about the good food versus the kid table food. The investigation was swift. The health department found multiple violations: expired meat, moldy dairy, vegetables so far gone they were liquefying. All in the secondary fridge in the garage. The one she'd specifically told me was where she kept the kids' food. CPS interviewed my children. Emma, sweet Emma, told them how Grandma always said they had to eat the poor kid food because Mommy couldn't afford better. How she wasn't allowed to eat with her cousins because she wasn't as good as them. How Grandma made her throw up before but said she was being dramatic. Ethan told them about the birthday cake incident. How Grandma had given Melissa's kids a beautiful custom cake but served him and Emma cupcakes that tasted funny. How he'd seen her pull them from a box marked with last year's date. How sick he'd been after. The social worker's face got tighter with each story. My parents were charged with child endangerment. The evidence was overwhelming. Not just the expired food, but the clear pattern of discrimination. The prosecutor said it was one of the most clear-cut cases of deliberate harm he'd seen. They targeted specific children based on their parents' economic status, he told us. They fed fresh food to one set of grandchildren while knowingly serving spoiled food to others. That's not poverty. That's abuse. The family imploded. Relatives who'd turned blind eyes were forced to confront what they'd witnessed. Aunts who'd watched my kids eat in the kitchen while their children dined inside. Uncles who'd laughed when Mom called my kids the charity cases. Melissa cut contact with our parents after her own children started asking questions. Why did Grandma make Emma and Ethan sick? Why didn't they get to eat with us? Are we bad people? She called me one night, crying. I swear I didn't know it was that bad. You knew they were treated differently. I thought it was just, I don't know. Less expensive gifts. Smaller portions. Not poison. Smaller portions of expired food are still poison. I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry. I should have said something. Should have done something. Yes, you should have. My parents pleaded guilty to avoid trial. They got probation, mandatory counseling, and were banned from being alone with any grandchildren. The health department fined them heavily. Their reputation in their upscale community was destroyed when the story hit local news. Grandparents charged with feeding expired food to grandchildren based on parents' income. Mom sent one last message before I blocked her forever. You destroyed our family over food. I responded. You destroyed my children's trust over money. You taught them they were worth less than their cousins. You literally poisoned them because you deemed them unworthy of fresh food. I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped letting you. It's been a year now. Emma and Ethan are thriving. They eat dinner at a table where everyone is equal, where love isn't measured by income, where fresh food isn't a privilege for the wealthy grandchildren. They still ask sometimes why Grandma was mean to them. I tell them the truth. Some people think money makes you valuable, but it doesn't. Being kind makes you valuable. Being loved makes you valuable. Being yourself makes you valuable. Are we poor? Emma asked recently. We have less money than some people, I said. But we're rich in love, in kindness, in treating everyone with respect. I'd rather be rich in love, she decided. Me too, baby. Me too. And we are. In our small apartment with our secondhand furniture and our budget groceries. All fresh, all safe, all served with love. We are wealthier than my parents ever were. Because we know that every child deserves fresh food. Every child deserves dignity. Every child deserves to eat at the same table. Poor kids should be grateful for anything? No. All kids should be grateful for families who love them equally. And that's exactly what my children have now. Even if it's not the family they were born into. It's the family they deserve.